Hey everybody, it's Emily at Arg Schooling, and it's time for a book haul. I have a pretty large stack of books that I would like to put away, so I'm just gonna run through everything I bought over the last 2 months. I think these are from September and October, and maybe even a little bit in August. So I've divided these into 2 stacks. So let's start with a smaller stack. These are all middle grade books that I have purchased or acquired over the last couple of months. We're going to start with this one, Stealing Little Moon. This is The Legacy of the American Indian Boarding Schools by Dan Sosaway-Jones. This is, I think, nonfiction about the Indian boarding school system and how that worked and how it affected people. And I just think this might have a lot of potential. I'm not saying that I'm going to be going back and updating level 5 or 6, but if I were to, I think this would go in level 6. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but this would be a good addition to level 6 because it's about the right age target for that. And this is just full of information and pictures and sidebars and documents and stuff. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I have When We Flew Away by Alice Hoffman. This is a novel of Anne Frank before the diary. I've already talked about this before, but I've already read this. I was very excited to get my copy because I want to annotate it. I know there are a lot of mixed feelings about this book. The reason that I think it's great and important, and this is just my opinion, is that for so many people, Anne Frank in her diary is their only connection to the Holocaust. And often they don't know anything beyond that this is a girl who had to hide in an attic for a couple of years and then she died. And the details are fuzzy or non-existent. And what this does is it fleshes out the lead up to them having to go into hiding, what was actually happening. It shows the absolute insanity of what it was like for a Jewish person to be living in Europe during this time period. And it shows all of the things that were happening to the Frank family and how they ended up getting to a point where their only option was to go hide in an attic because every other avenue was closed to them. And that, I think, gives so much context that is often missing from the story given in her diary. Because when you're studying the Holocaust and you're only using Anne Frank's diary as your source, it's safe, it's comfortable. It's just a girl hiding in an attic, writing her feelings in a journal. And that is not enough of a story to help people understand. That's why so much of the conversation today is confused about the Holocaust. That's why there's so many books that romanticize it, because their only connection is a girl hiding in an attic. So for that, I think this is a really great resource to have a child read this and the Diary of Anne Frank. I hope that kids in schools will be given the opportunity to have this context added to that framing. I think it would be very beneficial. So for that alone, I think this is good. But also, I just think Alice Hoffman's writing is stunning. Do we have enough Anne? Has she been used enough at this point? Yes. But Alice Hoffman does a really great job of writing her story. It's well researched. I think it's true enough to her story that it doesn't feel like she's using it as a gimmick or anything like that. And I think it's beautifully done. So I think this can be really important for Holocaust education. I have Not Nothing by Gail Forman, which I'm hoping to read this week, perhaps. This might be the book I pick up next. This is a middle grade story about a boy who is befriending his elderly neighbor and learning about her past. And I think this neighbor may have survived a concentration camp, and I think he's gonna like learn about what that was, what happened to him, and that sort of thing. Love, love, love books about people finding out like someone's backstory, like finding out their history, what happened to them when they were, especially like an older relative or family member or friend, and like a person discovering a story that happened to them. You know, that kind of thing. I love that. So I'm thinking this might be a favorite. I got The Bletchley Riddle by Ruta Sepetys and Steve Sheinkin. This was one of my absolute most anticipated books of the year. I already read it. I read it within days of getting it in the mail because I was so excited about it. This was so good. Like, I've already talked about it. My last reading vlog, I was reading this and talking about it there, so I'm not going to go too in depth. If you want to know more, go watch that. But this is fantastic historical fiction. It's set during World War II, and it's about a brother and a sister who are living at Bletchley Park, and the brother is working with the team of code breakers who are trying to break the Enigma code, and they're also trying to find out what happened to their mother who has gone missing and is presumed dead. Is she dead? We don't know, but the brother and sister are determined to find out. So this is so good. If you love really well written, really well researched historical fiction, you're going to want to read this. It's phenomenal. I love it so much. I want them to team up again and write more things. Then these 3 books I received in the mail from Penguin Random House, Random Kids, I think is what they're, something like that. And they sent me these in the mail. So I have The Frindle Files by Andrew Clements. This is, I don't know if it's a sequel to Frindle, but I think it's like a companion book to Frindle. I don't know if you need to have read Frindle to read this. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to hopefully be getting to it soon because it was nominated for Civils. So I need to be reading this, but I know it has something to do with Frindle. It says, Josh Willett is a techie, a serious gamer. Nothing's better than writing code or downloading a new release, which is why Mr. N's ELA class is such a slog. It's a strict no-tech zone, and it feels like being stuck inside a broken time machine. Mr. N makes them write everything out on paper. He won't use a smartboard, and he's obsessed with some 100-year-old grammar book. Then one night, while slowly finishing an assignment by hand, Josh discovers a secret. Turns out Mr. N's been keeping a lot more than technology from his students. Josh and his best friend Vanessa are determined to solve the mystery and rally the other kids around their cause, and maybe, just maybe, get some screen time back too. So this sounds like it could be interesting. I have The Queen of Ocean Parkway by Sarvanaz Tash. It says, behind every door is a mystery waiting to be solved. This is a mystery story involving a, what is it called? Oh, a fortune-telling machine. That's all I know, but I was super curious about that because it sounded really interesting. I like stories that are set in cities, and I think this will be fun. And then I also received Turning 12 by Catherine Ormsby and Molly Brooks. This is a graphic novel that I really wanted to read because Catherine Ormsby wrote one of my favorite books that came out, I think last year, Vivian Lance's Second Chances, which I thought was so incredibly fun. It was a time loop story, and like I loved that so much. So I was like, oh, whatever she comes out with next, I want to read. And so I was really excited to get my hands on this. So thank you so much to Penguin Random House, Random Kids for sending me this. This is a story about friends, and it says, what if a friend is more than a friend? So I don't really know too much about this besides it's an author that I really wanted to check out. I need a little tea break. The stack in front of me is large. We're just gonna work our way through. I don't know who I think I was going to be this season, but I bought this with the thought that, oh, I want to read this in October. I don't have time for this right now, but I bought The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanana. I have been wanting to read more witchy things. I've heard lots of good things about this book. I don't know who I think I am. I don't have time to read this right now. It's not going to happen. But in an ideal world, I would be reading this right now because this is a cozy, like, fantasy story. It's been compared to The House on the Cerulean Sea, but with witches, and I really want to read it. I don't really know more than that, though. I bought Sign Here, a novel by Claudia Lux, based on the fact that this is set in hell, and it's like about the bureaucracy of hell, and I loved The Good Place, so I feel like I want more of that. So I thought this could be fun. Also, I want to say that, like, the character we're following in the story is from New Hampshire. So I already read a book for that prompt, so it doesn't matter now, but I hope this is going to be a book I might get to and count as my book that's set in your state for the Build Your Library Reading Challenge, but that is moot now. It doesn't matter because I already did that, but, like, that was a thought I had. But also, it's a book set in hell. It says, Peyote Trip has a pretty good gig in the deals department on the 5th floor of hell. Sure, none of the pens work. The coffee machine has been out of order for a century, and the only drink on offer is a Jägermeister. But Pei has a plan, and all he needs is one last member of the Harrison family to sell their soul. That's all I needed, really. I bought Starter Villain by John Scalzi, based entirely on this cover. I've never read anything by John Scalzi before. I have no idea what I'm getting into. But do you see this cover? Like, it was also on sale. On sale, and this cover. That's all I needed, honestly. I don't even know what it is. It's a super villain. You're inheriting your uncle's supervillain business is more complicated than you might think, particularly when you discover who's actually running the place. I'm already in. I bought The Great Divide by Cristina Henriquez. This is a novel about the construction of the Panama Canal. And I bought this with the Self-Education World Cultures Unit Part 2 in mind. I don't know if this will be in it. I have another option also set aside. So, like, this is a maybe, but I wanted to try to give this a chance and see if I liked it enough for that purpose. If not, I'm just going to read it and enjoy myself. But, like, this might be something that goes there. I haven't gotten my October Nightworms yet, but I did get my September. The theme for September was Web of Lies. And I have Crypt of the Moon Spider by Nathan Ballingrud. And this is a novella. And it's got a, like, creepy spider thing happening. I don't know how I feel about that, if I'm being honest. I'm a little bit freaked out by it. So I don't like spiders. So I don't know quite what I think of this yet. But I don't know. It's blurred by Paul Tremblay. It's just, you know, it's historical, a dark, dreamy tale of horror, corruption, and identity. In a cave beneath the dense forest and streams on the surface of the moon, a gargantuan spider once lived. Its silk granted its first worshippers immense faculties of power and awe. It is now 1923, and Veronica Brinkley is touching down on the moon for her intake at the Barrowfield Home for the Treatment of Melancholy. A renowned facility, its treatments have been lauded by many. All it takes is a little spider silk and the amygdala, maybe a strand or two in the prefrontal cortex, and perhaps an inch in the hippocampus to expunge all those troublesome thoughts and ideas. I don't know. I want to read it, but I'm a little bit creeped out already. And then I have Through the Midnight Door by Katrina Monroe, and I love this cover. It looks great. This is, I don't even know what this is. Okay, I think this is like a haunted house story. It says that these two sisters discover an impossible home with an endless hall of doors and 3 keys left waiting for them. Curious, fearless, they stepped inside their chosen rooms and experienced horrors they never dared speak of again. And then I think one of the sisters commits suicide and the other one ends up back at this house. So, these both sound interesting. And I don't know when I'll get to them, but eventually. Editing Emily. My October Nightworms just showed up, and I thought rather than set it on this shelf and leave it there for months, I'd go ahead and do like a quick unboxing, so it'll be included in this book haul. So this comes with 2 books and an envelope of goodies. So let's do the goodies first and see what they sent me. So it always comes with some kind of a beverage. This is hot cacao pumpkin spice. And I don't know if I'll be able to have this. I might give this to the kids because it depends on what's in it. But I'll have to look over the ingredients and see if this is something I can consume. But most hot chocolate things have ingredients in them that I can't have. But if I can, this sounds delightful. But either way, someone in this house will enjoy it. Oh my gosh. Look at this sticker. It is the absolute cutest. I love the stickers you get in the Nightworms. They are some of my favorite stickers I've ever gotten. Another sticker. This one is like a crow, I think. Yeah, a crow or maybe a raven. I don't know. And then book plates. The bookmark. And this theme is Voices to Fear. And so the bookmark just has that on it. And the other side looks like this. Okay, so that's all the little goodies. Then the books, I have Coup de Grace by Sophia Ajram. And you can tell that the bookmark looks a lot like this. This is a novella, and I have no idea what this is. Vickin has a plan, throw himself into the St. Lawrence River in Montreal and end it all for good, believing it to be his only way out for him after a lifetime of depression and pain. But stepping off the subway, he finds himself in an endless looping station. Determined to find a way out again, he starts to explore the rooms and corridors ahead of him, but no matter how many claustrophobic hallways or vast cathedral-esque rooms he passes through, the exit is nowhere in sight. The more he explores his strange new prison, the more he becomes convinced that he hasn't been trapped there accidentally. And among the shadows and concrete, he comes to realize that he almost certainly is not alone. So, sounds weird and interesting. And then I have This Cursed House by Del Sandine. And I don't know what this is, but this cover makes me really want to pick it up. This, I assume, is a haunted house story. It says it's a Southern Gothic horror debut about a young black woman who abandons her life in 1960s Chicago for a position with a mysterious family in New Orleans, only to discover the dark truth. They're under a curse, and they think she can break it. Oh my god, I really want to read this. So those are the 2 books that come. I love how they go together, like the coordination is stunning. So I have 2 books, a bookmark, book plates for both books that are signed by the author, some hot chocolate, and 2 stickers. So many goodies. Definitely worth it. I love getting the Nightworms every month. So there you have it. That's what the October Nightworms contains. Carry on with the rest of this book haul. One of my most anticipated books of the year, I have Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. I'm so excited to read this, you guys. I love The House on the Cerulean Sea so much. It's one of my favorite books. I don't generally read things like that, where it's like genuinely heartwarming and cozy. I tend to gravitate more towards like sad, disturbing, upsetting, that sort of thing. This was just like such a warm hug of a book, so I want to go back and read more from these characters again. And the sprayed edges is so pretty. What do you look like naked? Oh, there's like a little snail shell thing on it. I don't know. But I'm hoping to get to this soon-ish. I don't even know. I didn't read the synopsis yet. I bought myself a copy of Black River Orchard by Chuck Wendig. I know I'm going to be reading this next month because that was the selection for my 12 recommendations from 12 friends. So that will be happening. So I made sure I have my copy. And I don't actually know what this is about, honestly. It's some kind of weird, like, apple orchard. I don't know if the apples are magic or haunted or what. But I've never read Chuck Wendig. He's an author that I've been, like, really meaning to get to. I love his social media content. He's such a just, like, hilarious, fun person to follow. And so I really want to read this, and I will be reading it next month, but like I'm really curious to see what I think. It's very long. I'm a little bit intimidated, I gotta say. I did make sure I have the audiobook for this. Another most anticipated book is Rachel Harrison's newest, So Thirsty. This is a vampire novel. I loved Such Sharp Teeth. I did not expect to love a werewolf book as much as I did, so I cannot wait to see what she did with vampires, which is a monster that I do genuinely enjoy the concept of. Haven't loved a lot of vampire content. Like, there's very few vampire movies, media things that I've enjoyed, but I'm hoping this is one of them. I didn't read the synopsis at all. I don't know what I'm getting into. I have Sharon McMahon's book that I cannot wait to read. This is The Small and the Mighty, 12 Unsung Americans Who Changed the Course of History from the Founding to the Civil Rights Movement. I'm so excited to read this. I think I'm kind of hoping, I need to talk it over with Tanya, but I think this might be a book club selection at the beginning of the year, because I do want to read it, but I also want to talk about it. So this might be one we read together. So just tuck that away in the back of your mind, that is a strong possibility. I have The Mythmakers, The Remarkable Fellowship of C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien by John Hendricks. I saw that this was going to be a thing and immediately pre-ordered it. I love the like stories that I've read and heard about Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, so a whole book about that, yes please. This is, I don't know what you call this. Is it a graphic novel? With this, it does have graphic novel elements, but it also has like pages of text with pictures. So I don't know if you would call this like a graphic novel or just an illustrated book. I'm not sure, but I'm very excited to read that. I bought and already read Woman Eating by Claire Coda. This was another 12 recommendations from 12 Friends selection. This was recommended to me by Sarah, who was just hoping that I would purchase it because she wanted a copy of it. So I did buy it, and I already told Sarah she could have it, so it's hers, but I'm still hauling it for you guys so you can see it. But this is a story about a woman who is a vampire, and it's kind of like a literary vampire story in that it's not really horror. Nothing really scary happens in the story. It's more like a slice of life. Like, what is it like to be this character? Like, what does her life look like? It's a lot about like her obsession with eating and her constantly thinking about food and what food must be like because she's never experienced it. And that sort of thing. So it's really, I thought it was really well done. It's really relatively short, so it didn't take me very long to read. And like, if you enjoy stories that don't really have a plot, but have a lot of strong character development and that sort of thing, I think you would like this. I finally bought myself a copy of What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez because I read this as an ARC last year, loved it, kept saying I was going to buy it, and just didn't get to it. And then I pre-ordered the sequel, which comes out next month, and I realized, oh gosh, I should buy this, otherwise I'm not going to have it, and I'll just have the sequel. So I went ahead and purchased it. This is a story about a girl living in, I think, like the 1800s? When is this set? Just says 19th century Buenos Aires. It's a Bolivian-Argentinian Inez Oliveira belongs to the glittering upper society of 19th century Buenos Aires. And so she goes to Egypt because her parents were like Egyptologists and they lived most of their lives in Egypt. And they're both dead now. And she wants to go and find out what it was that they were so obsessed with that they abandoned her, basically. And like, she's mad at them. But she also wants to know, like, well, what was it? What was so amazing there? So she goes to Egypt against her aunt's, or is it her aunt or her grandmother? I don't remember now. Against her wishes. and ends up going on this weird adventure quest. There is some magical elements to the story that I felt were kind of superfluous. Like, we didn't really need that. It didn't feel like it was doing anything important to the story. But I really loved like the adventure of it. If you like things like The Mummy, Indiana Jones, that kind of a story, that is what this is. And so if you like that, I think you would like the series. It is a little bit of like a romantasy situation. There is a romance happening in this book that also has a crazy cliffhanger that I just like cannot wait to get my hands on the sequel because I need to know what the heck that was. I bought Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees by Patrick Horvath. This is a graphic novel, and it is about these cute little furry animal creatures who live in like an ideal, like lovely little animal village, and one of them is a serial killer. And so it's about like the serial killer investigating another murder, trying to prevent his murders from being found out. So I just think it's really silly and cute, and I love stuff like that. One of my other most anticipated, you're going to hear that a lot. I have a lot of books that I'm like really excited about, but this is one that I am like so excited to read. It is American Scary, A History of Horror, From Salem to Stephen King and Beyond by Jeremy Dauber. I have been looking for something like this for ages. I've been wanting to do like a history of horror. I know I've already done like a whole morbid curiosities thing. I'm not rewriting. I'm not doing anything different right now, but I want to at some point read this book, decide if I like it, and then write like a history of horror unit study. I don't know if I'll get to that with Regina. We might still read this together, but I don't have time to do anything else crazy right now with her. But I would love to write a history of horror unit study, and I feel like this has potential. There's so much in here about like the history of why we as a culture love horror, and like I just think it's going to be so good. I cannot wait to read this. I bought The Forbidden Book by Sasha Lamb. I read When the Angels Left the Old Country last year, and I really enjoyed that. It was very fun. So I was kind of keeping my eye out for this author, and this is their newest book. First of all, I wish you guys could feel how nice this book feels. Like, I don't even know how to describe. It's like, I just love it so much. I want all books to feel like this. It says, possession, missing persons, and a deeply forbidden book. On the night before her wedding, 17-year-old Sorrel leaps from a window and runs away from her life, grabbing men's clothes and a sharp knife. To keep from being found, she takes on the identity of Iser Jacobs, but it soon becomes clear that the real Iser Jacobs is a lawbreaker, a revolutionary, and powerful people want him dead. Sorrel is drawn into the dark underworld of her small city, where smugglers, forgers, and wicked angels fight for control of the Jewish community. In order to make it out, Sorrel must discover who Iser Jacobs really is and who she wants to be. That is one of my favorite tropes, is when a girl disguises herself as a man or like tries to hide her identity in some way, and like the ramifications of that on like how she is able to disguise herself, how she's able to find a way to hide who she really is in society. Like, love it. Love that it's got like lots of Jewish elements in it. I really want to get to this. It sounds so good. I also have The Art Thieves by Andrea L. Rogers. This is so interesting sounding. Oh my gosh. I saw the synopsis of this and immediately pre-ordered it because it just sounds so interesting. This is YA. It's like set in the near future, and we're following a group of people who are doing some kind of a heist. So it says, in the near future, Stevie Henry is a Cherokee girl working at a museum in Texas, trying to save up enough money to go to college. The world around her is in a cycle of drought and superstorms, ice and fire, but people get by. But it's about to get a whole lot worse when a mysterious boy shows up at Stevie's museum saying that he's from the future and telling her about the apocalypse that is to come. She refuses to believe him, but soon Stevie will have no choice. So I want to say this is like an apocalypse, dystopian, like heisty kind of a story. That sounds amazing. And I want to get to this. Again, could it be a book club selection next year? Strong, strong possibility. Then the last book I want to talk about is one that I've been so excited to get. This is American Rapture by C.J. Leede. It is C.J. Leede's newest release. This literally came out like yesterday. I've been so excited about it. I read Mayfly this summer and loved it. So I've been very excited to see what else C.J. Leede does. This one sounds amazing. This is like American Gods meets The Last of Us. It's a apocalypse story about a good Catholic girl trying to survive. Yes, I hope she becomes unhinged. Like, I love this cover. It's so pretty. Like, look at it. Look at it. That is the 25 books I acquired over the last 2 months. Phew! I gotta go figure out where to put this now. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with these books. I'll figure it out. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on any of these books. Like, what should I prioritize? What do I need to pick up? I don't know when I'm gonna have time to do so, but let me know in the comments what you think about any of these books. If you've read them, if you want me to read them. Let me know too, like, did you get anything that you're excited to read over the last couple of months? Let me know down below and we can chat. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, I hope you will give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And I will see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.